Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time for another current events video. And as you guys know, I haven't been doing many of these lately. I've been doing maybe one every week, every couple of weeks these days. Recently, I haven't watched any YouTube fitness in 6 months until I saw this video that the Boogs just did. I actually appreciate the video, and I wouldn't have bothered to watch it except two of my lifters sent it to me. So I had two clients who sent it to me, two personal friends sent it to me, and about 8 people linked it to me in my inbox on the Facebook fan page who are regular viewers, like, Jason, you need to see this, you need to cover it. You're going to appreciate this. This is stuff you said in the past when you used to go in harder on people. And it's a point that needs to be made. And it's Boogs basically said, and I'll paraphrase some of this. And by the way, Eric, in case you come through and see this, I actually appreciate you making this video, nothing but respect for it, because it's something I said years ago. Jeff doesn't look like an athlete. He doesn't look like a lifter. And it offends his followers because they think because the guy is shredded and has added a couple inches to his biceps with curls and chin-ups that he looks like he lifts or an athlete, and he doesn't. And it's a problem when we talk about what real athletes look like. It's very, very, very misleading. And as he said, he looks more like a marathon runner than an athlete. Boogs looks like an athlete because Boogs is an athlete. Now, I get the same thing. People are like, oh, you look terrible, Jason. I'm a master's athlete. I'm in my 40s. I'm an athlete. And I'm a decently strong guy. Yeah. Easy as fuck. Weighing 223 right now. Decently strong guy, trying to get to elite numbers across the board. I do tons of sled drags. I do conditioning work. I do plyometric works, all these other things. I'm not just under a barbell. Okay, I do a lot of GPP. Okay, I do a lot of general physical preparedness and athletic training because we get slower and out of shape as we get older as lifters, and we have to be more athletic if we want to keep up. We have to. We don't have a choice. But as he pointed out, that this is misleading. It's misleading to athletes because it tells them that, hey, you can get really, really shredded and be big and strong and athletic. And that is simply not the case. And he made a reference to cattle hormones, which again, people hopefully understand that means trend, which I'm actually not a fan of. I don't think it's particularly good for athletes. I think it hurts your athleticism, that particular substance. My opinion says me. Says me. But I am a strength coach. Okay? It's what I do these days. I'm a strength coach. I coach lifters, I coach athletes, I coach guys who want to get really strong with a bias towards masters guys. Right? Guys who are getting older who want to keep getting stronger without getting hurt. My average client is a guy who says, hey, I want to be able to squat 500 pounds when I'm over 40. Okay? That's my clientele. That's half of my clientele who are not guys necessarily in their 20s anymore. So this idea that you can just keep getting bigger and stronger and leaner, as Eric said, he said that anyone who's got the answer to that, we don't need any more information. You have the magic secret that everyone wants. That's all we would ever need, right? Because no one has the secret. It's not been done. And it's misleading to promote that idea. And the problem is that you come over, and as Jeff is promoting, Jeff has marketed train like an athlete, look like an athlete. And even Eric's just like rolling his eyes at that because that's not what an athlete looks like. Athletes aren't sucked up at 6%, 7% body fat. It is very, very hard, other than some sports that require tight weight classes, to even be remotely competitive as an athlete. And it's extremely difficult to be strong. And you're not going to be proportionately strong. So even if you had developed a certain amount of strength with a certain amount of muscle, of strength and power and everything else, when you diet down that lean, you are going to lose it. Okay, you are going to lose it. You can't be shredded to the bone and be athletic. It's not how it works, and you sure can't stay strong. There's a threshold, and at a certain threshold, people have to put more and more and more substances into their body to even keep the strength that they have when they lose 1% body fat at a certain threshold. They have to sometimes, again, I observed this over decades of watching this, guys who get at a certain single-digit body fat, if they want to go 1% lower and keep their strength and performance, they sometimes have to triple the amount of drugs that they're putting into their body. Okay, double or triple just to lose that 1% more body fat, which might only be 1.5 pounds of fat. Hopefully people understand the problem with that, of why this isn't workable. This is not workable. Real athletes are not going to look like what you think of as athletes when they're on the camera, with the camera rolling. And if you don't grasp that, go look at a bunch of NFL players. Okay, I think most of us can agree that the guys who are at the Super Bowl are pretty decent athletes. They're okay athletes, right? They're at least good athletes if they make it to the Super Bowl. Everybody on that field at the Super Bowl is at least a decent athlete. And if you can't grasp that and agree with that, you're a fucking moron. What do they all look like? What do those guys look like? What are their athletic body fats? How many of those guys are 6% body fat? None of them. A few of them might be 10%. Most of them are closer to 15. Some of them are well over 20. Are they all not good athletes? That is a strength-based sport, strength and conditioning-based sport. You got to be strong, you have to be fast, and you have to be conditioned to compete at the upper echelons in American football, just like with rugby, right? Professional rugby, not quite as extreme as NFL because it's not the same money and competition. Same thing, strength-based sports. You look at any of the strength athletes at the Olympics and look at what their physiques look like. A few of them might look what you guys think of as aesthetic. Is that the norm? But these are people winning medals in the Olympics who are displaying strength and power on a level that exceeds probably just about anyone that most of you know. Those are athletes. Those are what athletes look like. Real athletes. And as he pointed out, it's this idea when you see a guy who weighs 160, 170 pounds, who's shredded on the internet, you think that he looks big and jacked, and when you meet them in person, there's nothing there. They look like a sucked up toothpick. Because you can't be big at 170 pounds. People say, well, what if you're really short? Well, if you're really short, you're not going to look big in person either. If you're 5'5", no one's going to think that you look big in person unless you're Kai Green. And yes, I've met Kai Green in person. He doesn't look as big, even at 280 plus pounds, because he's like 5'5". When I met the guy, it's like, you're just like looking down. The guy doesn't look big when I can look down and see the top of his head when I got stuck behind him in a line. Like, okay. He doesn't look as big as you think he does. He looks big. He is really big. Monstrously big. But in person, doesn't look as big as you think because he's short. So let's come back over to that whole point. Come over to that whole point. Guys on the internet, when they're shredded, look big. But when you meet them in person, if you're 170 pounds, you're just not going to be big. You're not. Not going to happen. You've 170. That's how big you are. And when you meet guys who really are big and they don't look that great online, it's totally different in person. People tend to be shocked when they meet those people. Okay, they tend to be shocked. They're bigger than you think they are. You go to a powerlifting meet and you meet the guys who are in the 100 kilo, 110 kilo class, right? In other words, talking about the 220, 242, or you meet the guys in the 275 class, and you bump into those guys in any strength sport. It could be some of the strongman type stuff. It could be Olympic lifting, and you meet them and you go, okay, now that guy's big. Okay? That guy will be big when you meet them in thick in person. Not the guy who weighs 170 and is ripped. You're not going to have the same impression. That's the illusion of the camera. That's the illusion of the camera. All right? And I'm glad Eric said it. It needed to be said. It's something I've said in the past, and when I say it, it gets hate. It gets hate. I'm being a jealous, petty hater. So hopefully when the Boog says it, because most people like Eric. Most people like Eric. I'll be honest about it. A lot of people just like Eric more than me. I accept that. And I'm cool with that. I like him too. He's a good dude, from what I can tell. So when he says it, people will listen. So I actually appreciate him making a video of something I said for years and years and years and caught flack for. Someone else is willing to say it. Thank you. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.